Yeah, this is Prophet Marshall Occurrence. Back at it. So, this video is going to be basically about doors of destiny. At some point, doors of destiny close. And the reason why this is coming up because there's a lot of Christians that's going to be talking about doors of destiny. This is going to happen for you. This is going to happen for you. This is going to happen for you. But at some point, doors of destiny close, and because it's the last days. So God ain't going to give you a prophecy that's not going to come to pass. God is not going to give you a door of destiny and it ain't nothing but 3 years left. And I'm not saying when the world is going to end, but at some point, the doors of destiny close, right? Okay. So, at some point the doors are going to close. And it's not going to be, oh, these things are going to happen for you, because God is not, it's no more time left. It's the last days. So if it's going to be no more time left, how are you going to get a prophecy about 10 years later or 5 years later, 3 years later? So at some point, there's no more time left. We won't know that. But what we will know is that you're no longer getting these visions for doors opening of destiny. You're no longer getting these visions. That's why people got to pay attention to what they're seeing and what they're not seeing. Because if you stop seeing doors of destiny, things happening, you're not getting that anymore. You start to realize, okay, it's almost the end, because you're not getting these visions about 10 days or 10 years or 20 years. You're not getting that no more. But this is how we also going to be able to see who is fake and who's false. That's how we're going to be able to see it. Because those who are still talking about doors of destiny opening, and it's not even a lot of time left, that's false prophecy. On a smaller scale, but it's going to be a lot of people like that. They're going to be giving false prophecies because it ain't no more time left. So how you going to be talking about, well, 10 years from now, you're going to be doing this. 20 years from now, there's not 20 years from now. So God's true people has already shifted where I'm not talking about no doors of destiny no more. Every time I hear people talking about, I see you doing this in 10, 20 years, or you going to start this business, it never sits right with my spirit. And I think the reason why is because there's just not a lot of time left. So all the people talking about doors of destiny and these things are going to happen for your, these things are going to happen for you, the good things, these great things, and at some point it's the last days. It's not no more time left. So God is not going to be directing you to tell people that. It's going to be you and your flesh. And that's how a lot of people are going to be exposed, because you're going to see, this is how you're going to know. You're going to see God's people over here talking about the shutdown of the community, the shutdown of the systems, the shutdown of America, the shutdown of society as we know it. Then you'll have people still over here talking about destiny and doors of promise and all the promised land, but the community is shutting down. It's already happening right now. But people are prophesying out of their flesh. They're prophesying out of the flesh, right? And you're not really speaking from the spirit, because you know why? It's already, listen, the systems are already being shut down in America, and what you're getting, what you're saying is out of your own creative will for America to get better, right? And it's not from God. It's not. No, it's not. It's not. So at some point the door is closed where there's no more destiny, promises, these big opportunities. And so God's people start to go into soldier mode, warfare mode. That's what we're going into. We're going into warfare mode. We're not going into all these doors opening, destiny and all these promises and all of that. We're going into warfare mode where this country is about to shut down. Okay, as it's approaching, as the country is approaching, closing down and shutting down, there's not going to be God's true prophets talking about, well, I see you 30 years from now doing this, but it's not 30 years left. Or they're telling you these big, grand visions and dreams, and it's not that much time left to fulfill it. So at some point, it's a lie. At some point, it's not the truth. And this is basically the setup so that God's people, their spirit is in the right position. It's in the right position, realizing what you should be speaking. This is a higher level, putting you in the right spirit before you make mistakes out of your flesh, continually talking about things that's not going to happen. Because some people go so far into it, they just start saying it out of their flesh. They're so deep into it. They're saying it out of their own will for America, especially America. America, let me make this very clear, is officially the enemy of Christians. I don't care what they do. I don't care about nothing about Nigeria. I don't care about what Trump says. I don't care nothing about what these Americans say, how they're Christians. We don't, listen, everybody say they're Christians. We go with rules and regulations and who sticks by the rules and regulations. That's it. If people don't stick by the rules and regulations, we don't argue with them. You don't argue with them. They think they're Christians. Okay, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to stand there and argue with you for the rest of your life and tell you you're not a Christian. Knock themselves out. They think they're Christians. Let them knock themselves out. But we know that those who do not stick by the rules and the principles of the Word of God are not Christians. Okay, that's the facts. Okay, so we're not paying attention. So America has went against God's kingdom. That's the facts, right? What's going to happen? What's going to be the corresponding action? People can't have their cake and eat it too. Most of these people are spoiled brats. Okay, rotten. So they think they can play with us and then, oh, well, we'll have God pull us out of this situation. Not so, buddy. Not so. Because you didn't stick by rules and regulations. That's how I go. Everything is rules and regulations. In the higher ranking you become angelic. You become angel-like, where it's all about technicalities and legalities. When angels come, they have no chip on their shoulder. An angel comes and sees technicalities and legalities and enforce rules and regulations according to technicalities and legalities and principles and regulations of the Word of God. That's it. An angel doesn't come in and say, well, I'm going to have compassion. An angel doesn't come and say, I'm going to have compassion. An angel comes and sees violations of rules and regulations and gets to work. That's it. So the devil operates like this too. The devil comes and enforces on rules, regulations, technicalities, and legalities. God, the highest supreme being, operates foundationally on rules, regulations, principles, and technicalities and legalities, right? And that's what God enforces on, right? He enforces on legalities, technicalities. rules and regulations. That's so the higher ranking you become, you don't even wear your heart on your sleeve. You know what I'm saying? It's because no one high ranking spiritually operates like that. I don't operate where, oh well, I feel this way about America. I feel that. No, I go by just like an angel. An angel comes in and goes by rules and regulations. So whether you like it or not, the angels are going by rules and regulations. Whether you like it or not, God's angels are going by no compassion and love. They don't operate like that. An angel doesn't sit around and say, well, I think I'm going to give them a chance. An angel comes in to any atmosphere or any nation and sees rules and regulations and what has been violated. That's it. They don't. An angel can't operate and say, well, I choose to have compassion. They can't do that. That's like a cop saying, well, I know he broke a crime. I know he did a crime, but I choose to have compassion. If a cop sees you do a crime, he's not going to say, well, I choose to have compassion. I'm not going to arrest this. I'm not going to pull up on this person. I choose to have compassion. That's how you sound when you think God's kingdom is going to see what you're doing to his people, and he's going to have compassion. He sees what you're doing, just like a cop sees a criminal doing what they're doing. And you think that God's just going to sit back and say, well, I'm going to have compassion. He's going to enforce, just like a cop see a person doing a crime. They're going to turn on their little lights and sirens and arrest you as soon as they see you doing a crime. They're not going to say, well, even though he's doing a crime, I choose to have compassion. This is how you sound when you try to defend America. It's all about, at the end of the day, it's all about legalities, technicalities. Love is not going to be considered. I'm trying to tell you. A cop ain't gonna say, well, that's a good brother. I think I'm gonna let him go because he doing a crime, but he's a good brother. I'm gonna just let it go. I'm gonna just let that go. Is any criminal is any good police gonna do that? Nope. God is not gonna come in and see all this that's going on, and you think that he's gonna let me die and let y'all live. It's not gonna work, buddy. It's not gonna work. You're a spoiled brat, and now I'm showing you legalities and technicalities, and that's why all of this is happening. And you know it's happening, don't you? Yeah, you know it's happening. You know what's happening? Legalities and technicalities are being enforced. It's just, I guess you could say, in the spiritual world, it's the rules of the land. It's the rules of the spiritual world. And that's the punchline. It's the rules of the spiritual world. You can't come in and as a community and play with God's kingdom, making violation after violation after violation, and think doors of destiny is going to be open for your American community. That's going to shut down for all of America because of what they've done to God's kingdom, right? So there's not going to be any doors opening. So everybody that's prophesying about, well, I see America doing this, you in your flesh. You're speaking according to your will for America, what you wish for America, what you want to happen for America. You're not speaking by the Spirit. So you're going to have a lot of people that's going to not speak by the Spirit, and they're going to be speaking out of their will for America, what they desire. And it's not going to be spiritual. It's going to be that person speaking what they want to happen, and it's not going to be spiritual. Okay? Because at some point in the last days, right, there's no more doors going to be opening. If it's the last days and it's the final hours of the last days, how are doors going to still be opening? Doors of destiny, how are they going to be still opening when it's the last days? At some point, you're going to shift towards the last days, the world ending. No more doors of destiny. No more opportunities. No more big doors opening for America. And see, God's true people is going to be in that position where now you're not talking about doors of destiny no more. You're not talking about these grand opportunities. Now, you're supposed to be found working. That's what the Bible says in essence, and I'm paraphrasing. When God comes back, he finds you working, right? However, you can't necessarily define that work, right? The work is going to be the work of God, foundationally, saving souls and everything. But these big doors of destiny is shutting down because it ain't going to be that much time left. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be still saving souls, witnessing to people while this system is collapsing. And it's not going to be these doors of destiny opening for no one because it's not going to be no more time left. Okay, so at some point that comes. At some point that happens. And you're not going to be talking about what America's going to be doing. You're not going to be talking about that. You're going to be wrapping it up, so to speak. That's what we're doing. We're wrapping it up. So you're not going to be talking about doors of destiny opening while we're wrapping it up. That's why you got to check your spirit. You got all people that's talking about all this stuff into the future. It ain't a lot of time left. So now I know that you're prophesying out the flesh because it's not a lot of time left, and God is going to show you that. This system is collapsing. The community is collapsing. These wars are escalating. That's what you pay attention to. Men using their free will and what they do with their free will. That's what you pay attention to, because if you see enough of it, what you think gonna happen? If you see enough war, what you think gonna happen? You see all these wars breaking out. You see wars in China and Japan and Taiwan, tension between China and Taiwan, and tension between China and Japan. That's covered. Europe is covered with all that's going on with Russia and Ukraine. That's covered. Wars in South America with America. That's covered. What else you need to see? And then wars against Christians here. It's war here because of this. That's covered. So America's covered. So when you see all of that come together, it's going to make obviously a prophetic insinuation of what's going to happen next. You can see what that the insinuation is. War. That's the insinuation. And a lot of Christians don't talk very openly about what it's going to be like. It's going to be like the world is swallowed up in war. What you know as functioning society and all of that is going to get swallowed up in war in the final days, in the last hours. It's not going to be a functioning society forever. At some point, everything gets swallowed up in warfare. And so people that are trying to hang on for life, those are the people that don't want to accept it. But just like I've explained before, like people say death is a part of life, right? The last days, the end of the world, is a part of life as well, but it only happens to several generations. But it's a part of life. Just like death, you know at some point you're going to die and depart from your kids, right? And your kids, or either your kids going to die and depart from you. You ain't going to say, well, I want to live forever. I want to live forever because I got kids. But you know that death is a part of life. You ain't gonna be with your children forever. So even for people that talk about their families and defending their families, you ain't gonna ever, either way it go, you ain't gonna live with your family forever. Because death is a part of life. You ain't gonna be with them forever because death is a part of life. Right or wrong? Okay, so either way it goes, you're going to have to depart from your children. More so, also, you've already come to terms with that, right? Nobody thinks they're going to be with their children forever, right? Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that as far as them and their children, because people always talk about, well, for the children, we'll defend ourselves for the children. You ain't going to be with your children forever. That's the bottom line. You will die, and your children will die. It's going to happen because it's part of life, right? So you're in the real world where you realize your children gonna die and you gonna die, right? Okay, that's a part of life, right? You don't stray from that, and while you're navigating forward, you don't stray from the fact that you and your children are gonna depart from each other eventually, and y'all gonna die. Either they gonna die first or you gonna die first. But ultimately, it's gonna happen because it's a part of life, right? Right. Okay. Secondly, now what you have not, what you've come to terms with that, but what you haven't come to terms with is that the end of the world is a part of life, just like death is a part of life. The end of the world is part of life, just like death is a part of life, and there's nothing you can do about it. Just like you can't do nothing about death entering into your life, you can do nothing about the end of the world entering into your life as well. It's a part of life, just like death, but it's the death of the world. So, because many generations haven't obviously seen the end of the world, there's no reference point. There's no teachers who prepare you for the time we're in. So, a lot of people doubt it, and they're just not prepared for it. They haven't come to terms with it. Better to say that the end of the world is a part of life. The end of the world, whether you like it or not, whether you got a family or not, the end of the world is a part of life, and ain't nobody gonna be able to manipulate it. So, with that being said, you have to come to terms with that. Okay, I got a family, but the end of the world is a part of life. I can't do nothing about it. Okay, you see what I mean, right? Okay, it's a part of life. But because other previous generations didn't experience it, you don't have any teachers that can prepare you for it and make you come to terms with it. Okay? You don't have anybody that can make you come to terms with it. You could look at the first end of the world with Noah and come to terms with it like that. Seeing that the flood came and killed everybody, and Noah was the only one that survived in his family. I can show you how God would kill everybody and his people live. Noah is a perfect example. Everybody died and only Noah lived. Okay, so the end of the world is a part of life. I'm not your entertainment. So for clowns and corny people, I'm not your entertainment, little buddy. That's what makes you a clown. You think clown, corny things about life, right? I'm very sober-minded. I don't play games. I'm not here for your little American entertainment. America's beneath me. Maybe it's above you, but it's beneath me, right? Okay. So I'm not impressed by America. I don't care about America. I think you're the most despicable, disgusting country it is. And I'm glad that it's happening to you. I'm glad everything is happening to you. Okay? It's your time. Okay? There's no more long-term goals that you should be making for this country. Now, you come to terms with that if you want to or not. But like I said, death is a part of life. That's what separates the men from the boys. Everybody realizes you can't live forever. Your children ain't gonna live forever. Your aunt ain't gonna. You ain't gonna live forever. Okay, and the world is not gonna live forever. It comes a point that you can see the writing on the wall. All these wars going on. I mean, you can see it happening. And some people say, well, this has been happening. Are you paying attention? Not really. Not like everywhere. And how you know it's different and distinguished from the past is because the mind of the people are gone. It don't matter what you do for these Americans. Their mind is gone. It's gone. So if you give them money, they still gonna be crazy. You give them money, they still gonna kill each other. You give them money, they still gonna kill their children. You give them benefits, you give them food stamps, whatever you do, I guarantee you, these Americans are gonna still be killing each other. So it's a lost cause already. It's a means to an end already by what they're doing and how their mentality. It's already a means to an end. Their mentality is a means to an end. Okay? You can see that. That's another sign to show you where this is going. Not doors of destiny with all these people being killed. No, doors of destiny is opening. Besides wars, America's killing its own population more than basically any other country, consistently, frequently. More frequently. I mean, you go to other countries, they're not killing each other every day as frequently as America. America is the #1 country that is frequently killing its own people outside of other countries than any other country. Show me any other country consistently killing its own community as consistently as the Americans is killing its own community. Show me another country that's doing it consistently, frequently, every day. In all these cities, they're killing each other consistently and frequently. Show me another country that's doing that. But you're a patriot. But you're talking about America. But you're talking about America and its citizens and how they love each other, or they're doing something, or whatever you're talking about. They're killing each other more than any other country is killing itself. You're doing it to yourself, buddy. So there's no doors of destiny that's going to be opening into the future. This country is going towards collapse, whether you like it or not. It's not a biased message. See, with a Christian that you've been playing with and going to war with, it's a tricky situation when we start talking about these things, because you'll think it's a biased message, which I would have said this as a Christian regardless. If I had no problems with America or not, I would have still said this, because it's the writing is on the wall. All the killing they're doing, everything they're doing, all the evil in the world, it's not a biased message. It's time to fall. It's time for it to fall. So, we're going to be aware of people talking about doors of destiny opening and all this stuff happening and everything like that. And use discernment so okay, it ain't even all that time left like that to be doing all of that. So you speaking out the flesh, you're speaking according to your will for America or other people, and it's not a lot of, we discern that it's not a lot of time left. So your doors of destiny is fraudulent. That's not what's going to happen. And it's people that just take advantage of people, and they keep saying, well, I see you going to do this. I see you going to do that. These things are going to happen into the future. And some people, even outside of Christianity, well, we going to do this in 10 years and 20 years. You got to shut them down too. You got to shut all these optimistic people down. Yeah. Because it gets some point where you're a realist over being an optimist. You have to become a realist over being an optimist. Okay? It's okay to be optimistic, but not to a fault. Some people are optimistic to a fault. It's going to get better. Well, it don't look like that. It don't look like that, buddy. And then, see, that's where you're going to be prepared when you realize it's not going to get better, man. So, we gotta be discerning, man, of people that talking about doors of destiny and all this stuff gonna happen, man. You see, it ain't a lot of time left, man. They speaking out the flesh. They speaking according to they desires and preferences for what they want to happen in the future for this country or for other individuals. But it's not God telling them that. God is not giving them those prophecies or those visions for this grand future 20 years from now and 30 years from now. So we just gonna realize that and keep that in proper perspective. All right, cool.